Did you know that Hollow Knight was originally supposed to have an area called the Forest of Bones? This area was first revealed in a Kickstarter update for Hollow Knight. In this video, I'll tell you the entire story, how it ties into the lore, where it might have been located, and how now it might be included in Team Cherry's next game. It all started back in the ancient primitive times of December 18th, 2014. This was when Team Cherry released update number 22 of their Kickstarter for their upcoming game, Hollow Knight. The major announcement from this update would be that Hollow Knight would be playable on a trash can. Oops, sorry, I meant Hollow Knight would be playable on the Wii U. But one of the other things mentioned in the update, which will be the focus of this video, was, you guessed it, the Forest of Bones. Team Cherry mentioned that the Forest of Bones was a hot, gigantic area deep into the game filled with creatures who clad themselves in the bones of dead giants. By the way, clad means clothed. Before the release of Hollow Knight, Team Cherry planned to make the Forest of Bones the area where you can obtain the Monarch Wings after fighting what William Pellin described on Twitter as a huge bony creature. They also planned to put one of the Dreamers in the Bone Forest. By the way, throughout this video, I'll also be referring to the Forest of Bones as the Bone Forest. Anyway, Team Cherry's original plan for Hollow Knight was to make each of the Dreamers found in one area and link up each of the areas through the Forgotten Crossroads. The area where the first Dreamer would be found was called Fungus, which I assume was an early name for the fungal wastes. The second Dreamer would be found in the Ruined City, which I assume was an early name for the City of Tears. The third Dreamer's area is, as you know, the Forest of Bones. The map that I have been showing on screen is from Team Cherry's interview with PC Gamer. But anyway, after a few more developments in the game making process and a big, and I mean big, size increase in the map, the Bone Forest was moved to the bottom of the map and a few areas that we see in the final game were added. Deep Nest was one of the new areas added, and it was added to connect the Forest of Bones to the rest of the map. 24th February 2017. Hollow Knight releases and, well, there's no Bone Forest. For the first 2 to 3 months after the game released, Team Cherry didn't mention anything about it. But then, in an interview with PC Gamer, Team Cherry told us how the Bone Forest would look if it was included in the final game. But still no reason why it was cut. Finally though, Team Cherry gave us the reason through Reddit. The reasons were, drumroll please. Number 1. The inclusion of the Bone Forest would have made the map way too big. Number 2. Team Cherry are a really small team and it would have taken them an eternity to make the Bone Forest. The third and final reason is that the inclusion of the Bone Forest might have led to other parts of the game suffering. There might have been less NPCs, fewer enemies, and more bugs. And by bugs I mean errors in the code and stuff, not these bugs. Okay, so that's it, right? The Forest of Bones is not in Hollow Knight and that's all. Well, not exactly. The Forest of Bones might still be an area, but not in Hollow Knight, in its sequel, Hollow Knight Silksong. In a nutshell, Hollow Knight Silksong is Hollow Knight 2, but you play as Hornet instead of the Knight. Anyway, in Silksong's announcement trailer, we're able to see an area that's very similar to how Team Cherry explained that the Forest of Bones would look. It's full of lava, has enemies that cover themselves in bones, and look at the floor. Doesn't that look like the backbone of a giant creature? And the backbone is a bone. Basically, the Forest of Bones might be in Silksong, even though Team Cherry have said nothing about it officially. So that's the whole story. From the humble beginnings of Kickstarter funding, all the way to possibly being in one of the most hyped games of the year. The Forest of Bones has come a long way. But that begs the question, when will Silksong come out? The answer is, I don't even know. Why do you even think I know?